Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I'd like to welcome you to another in the series, In the Light of Islam. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. Dear viewers, I'd like to welcome you to this series in which we look at various questions raised by our viewers, some of whom are non-Muslims, some of whom are new Muslims, some of whom are Muslims who have been born in Islam, or Muslims who have been Muslims for a long period of time, but having also converted to Islam. We have a variety of questions that we try to look at in each segment, and to give the Islamic position with regards to them. The first question we're looking at today comes from Al-Ain, and it is a continuation from previous questions which were raised by Sister Sarah Bernadis. She writes, Dear Dr. Bilal, are Muslim women allowed to touch and read the Quran, Arabic, during their menses? According to the actual evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah, there is nothing to prevent a woman from touching or reading the Quran in Arabic. The general position held is that it's not permissible. If a woman is in her menses, or if a person doesn't have wudu or ablution, being in a state of tahara, it is not permissible. However, if one looks at the actual evidence used, it is not sufficient to prevent the woman. We have a statement of Aisha that Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, used to read the Quran in all circumstances except when he was junub, that is, in a state of sexual defilement, wherein it is required for a person to take a complete bath, that he didn't read the Quran when he was in this state. This is what is generally used to be the evidence prohibiting a woman who is in menses from reading the Quran likewise. However, there is a big difference between these two circumstances. A person who is junub, sexually defiled, may clean himself or herself, purify themselves by taking a bath at any time. Whereas a woman in her menses, she cannot do this. Her menses has to run its course, and at the end of the course, then she takes a bath and reaches that state of tahara. So the two circumstances are not the same. And to say so for women, no, for the next 7 days or 6 days, you're not allowed to even read the Quran, etc., is in fact really not reasonable. And as I said, the actual evidence which is used, the verse, لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ, that none should touch it except for the pure, which is also used, this verse from the Quran is not in reference to human beings, what is being spoken about is not the Quran in our hands, but the Lawh al-Mahfuz, the protected tablet in which all things are written in the heavens, and those who are spoken of who can touch it only are the angels. So the evidence, as I said, are not there to prohibit the woman in actuality. However, it's considered preferable that a woman and man be in a state of tahara when they touch or read the Quran. As regards the English text, there is no argument in this matter at all. The English text of the Quran is not the Quran. It is only a translation of the meanings. So one, no matter what their state, may read this. And even if there is English and Arabic, the scholars have identified what is considered to be Quran. And that is where the words of God, the scripture, the text of the Quran, is more than the words of men. Wherever the words of men become more than the words of God, it is now considered to be tafsir, or a commentary on the Quran, and as such is not considered to be Quran anymore. And it is perfectly permissible for one in any state to touch or read such a text. We have a question from Dubai, from Amna Amjad Raza. Dear Dr. Bilal, at the time of marriage, nikah, is it compulsory to have witnesses? If so, why is it? Please let me know. Thanking you. Yours sincerely, Amna Amjad Raza. Sister Amna, it is a requirement for marriage that there be witnesses. But it's not just an issue of witness. It is also an issue in the case of women of guardianship. A woman who is being married according to Islamic law should have with her a wali, a guardian, that is a male relative, a father, brother, son, who will act on her behalf, will be her representative. And this is to protect her interest. He will check out the individual who wants to marry her and to ensure that that individual is sincere and a genuine candidate for marriage. The witnesses are there, besides the guardian, to ensure that this is not a secret operation. Marriage should be a public affair, that people should be aware of it, not something done in secret and no one knows about it. This is why we have also the walima, or the marriage feast, which is encouraged that once one gets married, then a feast should be done in which the public is invited, relatives, etc., so it be known. So the witnesses are there to witness the contract, because fundamentally marriage in Islam is a contract wherein certain rights are ensured, certain obligations are identified. This is the contract. Witnesses are there to support the validity of that particular act. A question from Ras Al Khaimah. Abdullah Richardson writes, what is the position, dear Dr. Phillips, Assalamu alaikum. What is the position of a daughter in Islam who is presented with the possibility of marrying a Muslim who is religious, well-placed, to look after a wife, yes. He's also nice-looking and is in all ways a near-perfect match as one could get. Can a girl refuse to obey her parents if they want her to marry such a man? And is she, the daughter, if she has no reason to refuse, please advise. Yours in Islam, Abdullah Richardson. Dear Brother Abdullah, in Islam, it is the duty of the parents to try to find a suitable match for their daughter. And this should be with the agreement of the daughter. If they have found someone who seems to be suitable, but she does not want to marry this person, whether, you mentioned here, she doesn't want to marry for any reason. She doesn't have any reason. However, people don't refuse without reason. There is a reason. But let us say that the reason is not one which you consider valid. That is, she wants to continue her studies. She may feel herself to be too young. Or she may feel that person is not the type of personality that she likes. So she has some reason, but it's a minor reason. In your view, it's not significant. But she doesn't want to. This is her right. She should not be forced to marry. And Islam does not force her to marry this person. Islam encourages her to marry. And it encourages the parents to find a suitable match. And it encourages her to accept the choice of her parents. However, if she does not find the person suitable, or if she changes her mind, I know some may say, oh, she's fickle. One moment she says yes, or next moment she says no. Well, the point here, young women may be fickle-minded in that sense. However, she still has the right, because this has to do with her future, she still has the right to say no. What I would suggest is that you don't just give up. Give her some more time. Perhaps, later she may change her mind. But I don't think that one should be upset if the daughter changes her mind, doesn't wish to be married at that particular period in time. And Islam as I said, does encourage her to trust in her parents in the sense that they know what is best for her. However, it is still her choice. A question from Fujairah. Dear Dr. Bilal, I understand that watching TV is not good. But is it bad to watch programs or series which one can learn something good in life? As an example, please advise. Watching television is bad if one is watching things which are bad. It is bad if watching becomes such an obsession that one neglects one's duties around the home, or neglects, even more importantly, one's duties to God. That the time for prayer comes, but we are in the middle of watching a program, so we miss our time for prayer, etc., etc. This then becomes something evil. But if what we're watching is something educational, something beneficial, etc., or something which may be just, leisure, entertainment, but it hasn't got corruption in it, then it is not evil. It is not bad. Islam does not prohibit it. Of course, we are encouraged to use our time well. We should try to minimize our watching of television, so that it doesn't become an obsession, because it's so easy for us to become hooked on the television. And when you're hooked, you'll find yourself watching one program, another program comes, and maybe you didn't initially have an interest in it, but you find yourself watching again, another one, and it seems to just carry you on, and hours and hours and end of your time can just be wasted in the television. So it is advisable for one to control one's watching, keep it, to such a limit that it doesn't interfere with the many other duties that we have to do, and also that it especially doesn't interfere with our duty to God, and that we do not watch on the television things which are prohibited in Islam. Second question: is it okay to use a bed cover with cartoon prints on it? Cartoon prints meaning some kind of drawings of Donald Duck or Minnie Mouse or whatever, Mickey Mouse. It is permissible. This is not something, figures which were hanging on the walls, etc., etc. It is something permissible, though not preferable. We try to stay away from images of creatures, whether in the cartoon form or in the realistic form. Obviously, in the realistic form, it's even more prohibited. In the cartoon form, it's so-so. Better to avoid. Another question from Sister Noor. Dear Dr. Bilal, someone asks a good favor from you, but your husband does not like the person. What should you do? Help the person or listen to your husband? It depends on what this good favor involves. To do good for others, if it is from yourself, is your right. If you wish to do good, charity, etc., from your own wealth, then this is your right. Your husband may advise you that, maybe it's not good to do so and so, but he cannot stop you from doing righteousness. However, if the favor involves his property, that is, someone has asked you to do something which involves using your husband's property, and he does not like this person, he feels that this person is whatever, and he would not agree with you using his property to help this person, then this is not permitted. You must get his permission to do charitable acts with his property. With your own property, you are free to do as you wish. A further question: is it